What is the role of research in the simulation design process? Simulations are built either to explore some questions or to mimic some situation. During the simulation design process, once the main objective and promise have been chosen, it's time to dive into the promise and do some research before designing phase for the whole system. Doing research can help to look for other simulations which the same objectives or promises. Note what you like and what you don't like about them. Study the promise in order to obtain sufficient content knowledge to work with it. Doing research helps to understand and refine the main objective of the system. If you can do some research before preparing a model, then it will help to increase the speed for development and try to avoid some issue impacting the model. What is the role of research in the video game and the series game design process? Doing research in the video game and series game design process can help to identify the observable elements. While you do research, you gather your materials and facts. You will define the limitation of your solutions and delineate the original system you will use as the basis for your simulation. We will make decisions over the research, and research will let us define the original system extent and the bounds before designing solutions. To design a serious game needs more preciseness and straightness because the goal of serious games is learning or practicing a skill. Then obviously designing a serious game needs more research to work on increasing the final output. You cannot hope to design a good game about protecting watersheds. Also, designing a video game needs research on related area. It needs to be attractive to people. How are those research processes similar and how do they differ? The research process for both is happening after choosing the main objective and promise, and before the design phase. The research process is a very important step to support the researchers for system design. All research is to collect an amount of data, identify observable elements, and define the original system extent and bounds. The initial motivation for each research is different. Maybe they are in different areas. In that way, the focus for each research of this object is different. Simulations are necessarily concerned with accuracy. Game focus on providing an entertaining player experience. The research process for a simulation or game is quite involved, but if we also want that game to be instructive or educational, then it becomes even more complicated because we must now add instructional design process into the mix. What are the goals for testing in the simulation design process? Simulation can be incapable of external validation of its output in the realistic world. When we design and develop a simulation, we are especially interested in ensuring that the model is an accurate reflection of original system, insofar as those aspects that related to the question we are trying to explore are concerned. Because of that, some testing must occur at every step of the process. We need to use testing to make sure internal validity for simulation. Every simulation should be run many times with different seeds, and the output should be examined by experts to determine the similarity between the runs. After a model is created and designed, the next step is testing. During testing, we need to validate model performance and the output in the real scenarios. What are the goals for testing in video game and series game design process? Play testing is listed near the end of process after the programming phase. Play testing involves having people play your game and provide you with feedback on everything from the interface and game mechanics to the dialogue and overall appeal. There are different types of testing needed to be performed to verify each and every part in the testing games. Most of testing happens to a commercial game after the computer programs have been scanned carefully for errors and is so-called black box testing. Also, there are playing tests for games, which is concerned with the nature of the game as an entertainment object. Testing is to verify and validate the quality of the game produced and make sure every part works fine and secure enough for protecting data from external threats. How are those testing similar and how do they differ? All testing is for validation, demonstration of how well it does what it's supposed to do. Game testing is every bit as complex as any other testing and should be treated in just the same way. Validation and verification are part of all kinds of testing. As such, are intended to convince the developers and users that simulation is correct and to locate and characterize any problem that may exist. Usability is something that's tested for all systems, but fun factor testing is something unique to games. Since they are an entertainment product, games are not only supposed to work intuitively and provide a good experience, they also have to be fun to play. One of the most complex aspects of game testing can be testing of the extra world or level, especially if it's a vast, sprawling 3D world.